Good morning, welcome back, Deer Corner. Glad to see you here. The 30th of October. November's right around the corner. Boy, this year's flying by. But about 4 o'clock this morning it started raining here. So it's about 42 degrees outside. We got a slight rain, slight breeze coming out of the northeast. But we've been having a rough week of hunting. Bear season. They've been running bear up here with dogs. 2 days ago they cut across the southern part of my property here. And their dogs don't always chase bear, they'll also chase deer. And the leaves been dropping. Boy, the leaves been dropping. Raining leaves, and that's the hardest time for me to hunt. So, for some of you out there, there's a few little tips that haven't been seeing deer. Actually may have done your scouting properly this summer and this fall. And maybe a few tips here that might help you out if you're not seeing deer. And one of the things that get overlooked quite a bit when you're scouting, and that's locating natural funnels. And a natural funnel could be a creek, a fence row with an opening in it, a couple trees blown over, hillsides, steep hill banks. Natural funnels, that's a key thing, and when you're scouting you need to be looking for. And you might have overlooked a couple, and you're not seeing deer where you're at. Where you went in, you seen deer signs, you've gone in to go hunt, and you don't see no deer. So you're going to end up moving, but you need to look for natural funnels, and that will bring the deer to you. You don't go to the deer. And that's one of the key things. Get the deer to come to you. Don't you go after the deer. And this time of year, the acorns are dropped, and they're cleaning them up. We got another maybe a week left of acorns, and then the deer they'll be moving. The does will be changing their routine. Some of these hardwoods we got up here, the stands, I call them, they actually become dead. And deer still move through the area, but not as plentiful. But they're using it as a transition. And that's one of the key things this time of year. You need to look for transition areas, the change in transition areas. And what I mean by that is you can have an area that's been logged off, and then it comes to a thicket, and then some more woods. And you want to hunt that transition area at that thicket before the woods, or the back side of that thicket into the woods. Transition areas are a key thing this time of year you need to find. When you've done your scouting, you need to also look for transition areas that change during the time of year it is. And those key things of a transition area to look for, that is something you're going to have to learn yourself in the area you're hunting, because what may work for me may not work for you, because our transition areas are different. The deer are different. They feed different here in the mountains than they would up in the corn belt, where they can just walk out at nighttime in an open cornfield that's been disced under, and it's got ears of corn in it, and they're out there getting the corn out of the cornfield. So the transition areas are different. And that brings to another thing, and there's so many overlooked areas that hunters just overlook. And it's just simple things like I mentioned, a cornfield that had down corn in it from the wind from this summer. And the farmer couldn't get all the ears of corn up because they're on the ground. And he goes by and he discs them under, but yet the corn ears are still there in the cornfield. And the deer go out there in the wintertime, this time of year, and get that corn that's down on the ground. So the overlooked areas could be a drainage ditch with high grass in between a cornfield and a thicket or a wooded area. It could be a fence row. A simple little fence row can hold deer in an overlooked area. So your overlooked areas are a very key thing this time of year to look for. And areas such as a transition area and an overlooked area basically are the same, but if you go through your overlooked areas, I know a fella that killed a really nice deer behind a Walmart, of all places, right behind what they call their ponds, drainage ponds. He has property behind it, and he was shooting deer right behind a Walmart. And that's funny, but that's true. And one of the things when you're in and coming out is fresh deer signs. And you may have done your scouting and you see signs of deer. Well, it's that time of year you'll see deer feeding in that area. You're going to see fresh signs. But as the feed starts drying up, as winter starts getting in here, and your colder weather, the feed starts drying up in that area. So you always got to be looking for fresh deer signs. If you haven't done the scouting and you're out there right now, you need to look for fresh deer signs in the areas that you can hunt that the deer are starting to move to for feed. So fresh deer signs is something that you need to always keep your eye open. New rub, new scrape. Basically, deer tracks is another simple thing. Like here behind the cabin, we have a trail that the deer walk on quite a bit. Deer tracks there, but they're starting to dry up. There's not as many that there used to be throughout the summer, so they're starting to move down more towards the bottom, and you find the deer tracks. And that is one of the key things, is fresh signs. And I hope this helps you out some. Like I said, glad to see you with me, and hope to see you again. I will be putting out some deer hunting videos, and I hope to see you on them. Like I say, go ahead, subscribe, hit the like button. And if you have any questions or anything, please ask them. I'll sure answer them if I can, but I know a lot of people out here that can. So glad to see you with me. Oh yeah, always keep in mind when you're in the woods, be safe. Rather be safe than sorry. And we'll see you again.